What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Knab and Ro Show. I'm here with my compatriot and partner in crime, Ro. Say hi, Ro.
Hi, kids.
And welcome back to the podcast.
Yay!
Woo! So, Ro, what are we talking about this week?
Well, I thought it fitting since there are so many graduations going on, seeing as it's the end of the school year for a lot of people, that we talk about our high school experience and graduation and whatnot. So I thought that might be appropriate for this time of year.
God save us all.
Were you a bad kid in high school?
You know, I wouldn't say that I was a bad kid at all. I was actually a really good kid. I never snuck out. I never went to parties. I didn't do drugs. I didn't drink. You know, I was a good kid. I mean, I was a little nerdy kid staying inside playing Super Nintendo all day or whatever, you know, back in the day. I mean,
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, what I remember is playing like Final Fantasy VI when it came out, and then eventually Final Fantasy VII came out on the PlayStation 1, and I was like, oh my gosh. In those type games. That's the kind of thing that I did, because I was, you know, me. But
all right.
yeah.
Sure. And what high school did you go to? Tell me a little bit about your high school.
Okay, so the high school I went to was called Turpin, Turpin, Turpin High School. We were the Spartans, which is pretty cool. And interesting tidbit, I know we're talking about high school, but I went to Ohio State, and their fight song is the same fight song as my high school's fight song.
Oh, what a coincidence.
Yeah, so I thought that's pretty cool. I didn't really have to learn another one, which I thought was great.
Sure.
But, yeah, so the Turpin Spartans, that's where I went down here in Anderson Township in Cincinnati, Ohio. And, yeah, it was great.
What were your colors?
Yeah, our colors were maroon and gold.
Oh,
so very interesting color, yeah. But it was good. I enjoyed that color. It wasn't just like a lame blue and gold or anything like that, like a Michigan or anything, you know. But,
fair enough.
What about your high school? Where'd you go?
So my high school, I went to Century High School in Hillsboro, Oregon. And Century is, so there's four high schools total at the time. There's five now. But when I graduated, they had just built Century. And, oh wait, was it three? I feel like I'm missing one. No, maybe we were three.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Now I'm like, crap. Anyway.
Yeah, what was your mascot?
We were the Jaguars.
Ooh, the Jaguars.
Yeah, and before it was built, they sent out like a ballot, I guess you could call it, to all the people who were in that school district to vote on the mascot and the school colors. And so a lot of us had actually a hand in picking what the color and mascot were, because it was a brand new school. I'm not sure how your grades are over there, but up until 1997, I'm dating myself now, 1997, kindergarten through 6th grade was elementary, and then 7th, 8th, and 9th grade was in junior high, and then 10th, 11th, and 12th was high school. So when Century opened, that's when the conversion of having 9th through 12th grade in a high school instead of having 9th grade in a junior high. And so that was kind of the turning point, and the community felt, or the district, I guess, felt that the kids should have a hand in what they're going to become. So we were the Century Jaguars, and our colors were black, teal, and gray/silver, however you wanted to call it. So yeah, it was a really good color combination. It's I think there was like 3 or 4 choices that we could pick off the ballot, and that was one of them, and I did pick that because our other high school, I guess we were the third, and then yeah, so we were the third high school. The other 2 high schools were Glencoe, and they were maroon. They were the Crimson Tide. You can have a mascot of that, but they were like maroon and I think probably gold or something, and then it was the Hill High Spartans, and they were your traditional blue, red, and white. So
Yeah,
So,
so,
yeah, so it's
a
very
couple
interesting.
things that you talked about made me think of a couple things in my high school.
Mhm.
So back before 300 came out, like this is Sparta. We didn't have that, and I would have loved to have gone to school and be a Spartan when that movie came out. I can only imagine how glorious some football games could be when you get a whole crew of these like dudes with their shirt off, these big shields and spears, and then like charging, going after the other team, just like looking awesome.
Yeah.
But we never got to that.
Yeah, the Hill High high school is like the original. That was the one that's been around for a long time, and then Glencoe came, and then Century came, and then they just built another one. They had Liberty that just came out, and those are where my brothers went. So, what, 10 years ago? 12 years ago? I was class of 2000, so we were the second graduating class from Century, because we didn't have seniors the first year. It was just a 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. And then, so we were the second graduating class from Century. So we were a relatively new school. It was exciting. Everything was fresh and clean and brand new, and it was
Didn't have
exciting.
that old high school stink.
No, although, so Hill High, their classrooms are kind of like, I felt like a Californian built it, because all of the buildings are like far apart from each other. Instead of like having it be one big building, there's like little ones all around campus.
What's more like an outside type deals?
Yeah, but it rains like 90% of the time here in Oregon, so I felt like it was kind of weird. And then at Glencoe, they had these huge, like, industrial sized tubing going all, I don't know why they thought it was a fashion I have no idea why the architect did this, but you like legit walk through the building and there's like these huge like industrial sized tubings going from,
like the black tubings.
No, like just big round metal tubing.
Interesting.
Like, yeah, it was weird. I was like, well, this is weird.
Huh.
But when Century was built, they had a lot of more updated computers, and like there was TVs in every classroom, and just a lot more technology, I think, put into it than the other two. But,
well, I'll tell you. So you talked about the different grades that were in your school and how things kind of changed when they built the middle school or whatnot online. So we kind of had the same thing. My class, so got to give a shout out to class 2001. Yeah, 2001, that's right. So I was a year after you when I graduated. But so my class was the last class to go from 7th all the way through 12th grade in one building.
Oh, interesting.
So when I started in 7th grade, the junior high was 7th and 8th grade, and then you go to 9th grade and you're considered a high schooler. Freshman. So here's I feel sorry for the class, the 2002 class. So I went 7th grade, and then we went 8th grade. The 7th graders came in, and then when we moved to 9th in the same building, those poor 7th graders had to go all the way to the new Nagel middle school that they built for 8th grade, and then come all the way back to the high school for 9th grade. So they had to hop back and forth. But for my class, it was kind of like, oh, great. So, all right, we're the youngest kids in the school in 7th. We have 8th. And then, oh, great, 9th grade. Guess we're the youngest ones in the school again. Awesome. Right. It's like being held. It's like being held back. But
right.
But yeah, no, it was pretty awesome. And they did a lot of advancements towards the end, I'd say junior and senior year when I was in high school. So you used to just have the main building, but I think it was either my sophomore or junior year, they finished the construction on the auditorium. So they built this big theater. Because we used to have to go to our rival high school to do all the shows, musicals, and whatnot. So once they built that, we were able to do more shows and be more active, and the theater group grew like exponentially throughout those next 2 years. And they built a new tennis court and a couple of other different things. And since I've been gone, they literally, the whole front of the building, it used to be this beautiful like grassy area in front of the school. The seniors used to go out and throw frisbees and stuff, and kind of do senior days and whatnot. Right. They have expanded the entire front of the building into that. There is no more front grassy area. They've like almost
Oh.
doubled in size how big the high school is now, for at least from
Wow.
looks. I don't know the square footage or anything like that, but
Right,
that
right.
entire thing that we were so used to, like, yeah, I remember doing that. It's gone. You can never do it again. So they just grown exponentially. But they are, in my opinion, to have tapped out. They have a new gymnasium. They have all types of new stuff. I mean, it's just
Wow.
the school's grown, just crazy big. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Yeah, we had so Century was number 3, and then Liberty High School was number 4 high school that came, like I said, at least 10 years later, ish, maybe. But they actually have like an upper level track in their gym. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where they hold all the graduations. These poor kids. So I have 2 younger brothers, and the first one graduated, and I felt so bad for these kids because they had this graduation in their auditorium, which is ginormous, or their gym, just ginormous. It's got like, that's where the second story track is and everything. And they had these poor kids come up from on the upper track and then come down the bleachers to the chairs on the floor. That's where like the stage and everything was set up to get their diplomas. I felt so bad for these girls who were in like high heels and wedges trying to navigate down. I mean, bleacher steps aren't easy steps, because they like fold it, they're collapsible. So they're not like sturdy. And I felt so bad for these poor girls in heels, maneuvering these bleacher steps, trying to get down and that was just how the procession, was. And I was like, well, someone didn't think that through well enough.
You have all the click clacks of people going down those are like almost, was it
Yeah.
aluminum? I believe it is. Aluminum.
Well, these were like wooden bleachers. And I don't know, I mean, they had like pads on it, but I don't know, it was just like all these girls were just, I mean, they were like holding up the line because they were taking their time going down the stairs. And I was like, well, clearly a man organized that because they didn't take into consideration the shoes that girls would be wearing.
Yeah, ladies, start wearing some flats. Don't be wearing your high heels in events because we don't consider it when we build buildings. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But anyway, back to our high school.
Yeah.
So what kind of things did you do in high school? Other than play video games, were you involved in any sports or?
Yeah, well, kind of. So I did track for a little bit. I was a pole vaulter until I tore my hip flexor my freshman year. Came back my senior year, tore that sucker again. But I was very successful. I was a decent pole vaulter, but I never got to do it just because. There you go. He tore it again. But
Right.
I was more of a sprinter. Never did cross country. Didn't really care about running long distance. Hate marathons. Don't want to do them. I did the marching band, so that was a big part of my life. I was a drummer. I was a drumline captain my senior year in marching band. Did all different types of stuff around music at the school. My senior year, I was in Music Man, our musical. I was in the men's octet, the adult choir. I had one line. I was a news reporter. I was very proud of that one line. And I had to practice it every day because I was like, I'm going to forget it. Oh, my God. And then I was the only male swing dancer in there with the 2 other ladies. Hey.
Ooh.
And I was a Shriner. So I had like many different roles. It was a lot of fun. I tried out for sorry, guys, not trying to dish you that much, but I tried to try out for the basketball team. The coach was just a complete jerk. He was just had a bad attitude. He pushed me. Nobody likes that guy. He's a jerk. But that year, my senior year, and I'm glad I didn't get accepted. Either I was bad or whatever. I don't care what it was. But I didn't get on the basketball team. They were 22 or 23, I think, that year.
Oh,
it was horrible. Yeah, our soccer team, on the other hand, I think they won state that year as well, and that was pretty. We had a great soccer team. And that is the same year. Ready for this? Luis Fernando Menendez Tornero. He was a foreign exchange student from Madrid, Spain. Lived with my family, and I'll tell you, he was the most popular kid at school. I mean, he was tall, dark, handsome, All the ladies loved him. He's part of the popular crowd, the cliques we have in high schools and whatnot. But he lived with me, and, whatever. I got to be that guy. And I feel like that senior year where beforehand I was just that nerdy guy in band and all that jazz, because of Luis, I can kind of say it kind of opened me up, and people kind of say, what they...
You have the cool factor.
Yeah, cool factor. Now I got the coolest kid in school living in my house, like whatever. That's pretty badass. But it was all me, bro. It was all me.
Yeah, of course.
Luis had nothing to do with it. No, I'm just kidding. I'll be totally honest and real. I get it. I get how, society and all that crap works. But, man, what else did I do? Oh, I helped organize the first Ultimate Frisbee team at Turpin. So I was more or less, I didn't want to be captain or anything, and they wouldn't make me captain because I was aging out. I was the senior or whatever. It was the first year, whatever. And so we did different Ultimate Frisbee challenges and competitions versus some of the other schools out there, one of the local parks. But that was pretty fun. Other than that, I didn't really do a whole lot of else with my high school, to be honest. Music was probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
I was a speech and debate girl. It was a brand new school, so a lot of our clubs and sports were just kind of forming and getting together. We didn't really have any history, no titles to continue on with or anything. So it was definitely a period of growth and getting those activities established and getting teams together and I remember our football team wasn't, we weren't like horrible, but we weren't like state champions by any means. But we held our own. We won some and lost some, and we did that. But speech and debate wise, so I started high school at Century when I was a sophomore, and we had a very small speech and debate group. But we ended up going to state our very first year as a Century team.
Wow.
Which, I ended up going to state, and so that was really exciting. And then I ended up getting a part-time job my junior and senior year, and so that kind of took a back burner. So I wasn't as involved as I was my sophomore year. But I definitely... I got a letter my first year, so I have a letterman's jacket. All my... You have to get so many points in all your events and everything to reach certain benchmarks, and we just blew it out of the water. We won a lot of awards and stuff. So as small of a group as we were pretty talented, and it just got better as the years went on. So that was my main focus, and I had a good core group of friends too. There's about probably 10 of us, and we hung out quite frequently and supported each other. Some of my friends were in sports and stuff, and so the ones that weren't playing we would go and watch, and I was at every football and basketball game and whatnot. My sister, who's 3 years younger than me, she went to the same high school. She was involved in dance team, and so I would definitely go to most of the games because they would usually perform at some point, whether it be like a quarter or a halftime type of show. So, I was a total supporter of the sports and hanging out with the friends, and I was a good student, so that was important too. And then balancing a part-time job.
Were you an honors student? Were you magna cum laude?
I was not. I was not. No, I was on honor roll. In junior high. I don't think I was in high school though.
I have to say, I am surprised that you were in debate and speech and all that. Come on, it's not like you use your voice for anything these days. Come on now.
No, I can't communicate effectively at all. So
podcast.
I joke with my family because I graduated with a speech communications degree, and my family is horrible at communicating. And anytime we get into like a big fight about like, well, you didn't tell me this and I was like, I am the only qualified person in this family who can actually tell you guys that we cannot communicate effectively. So y'all need to listen to me. And then
I am the professional.
Hard eye roll.
Listen to me. Yeah.
Hard eye roll and just shut up and hellos are thrown and it's great.
Well, good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever do any trips with your school, whether it's like with a class or with a group someplace, or you traveled to the United States, overseas, or anything like that?
Yeah, no, we didn't. Although with speech and debate, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or for our listeners that aren't. So speech and debate, they have competitions around the state. So a lot of our competitions were away from home. So as a team, we actually teamed up with Glencoe's speech and debate team in the early years, just because we were so small and they were fairly large. And we'd have to rent buses and stuff. And there were a couple of trips that we ended up having to do overnights. Like if we did, say we did one down in like Salem, Eugene area. So the ones that were overnight, we did a lot of those. About half of them. Well, I wouldn't say half of them, but a good 4 or 5 of the competitions were overnighters or long bus rides.
Those are the best.
Yeah. I mean, to a point. I mean, we had to be there at like 6 o'clock in the morning to catch the bus to go to the event. But it's just like, oh. But yeah, I mean, those were the only trips that were available. I mean, they did have the like during the summer, kind of like studying abroad or doing like a class trip type of a thing. I wasn't never, and I still am not a huge fan of traveling, so I didn't really take advantage of that. And
I remember that.
And it's a lot of money, and I wanted a car, and so I had my job and to pay for that. So it was kind of took over, but I never felt like I was missing out on anything. Like I said, I had a good group, solid core of friends in high school, and we did a lot of things together and whatnot. So that was always fun.
I don't really talk to anybody really from my high school. I mean, I'm friends with a bunch of them on Facebook, but the group that I would consider that was the group I hung out with, I don't think they gave a rat's patoot about me by the end of senior year. To be honest, I don't know if it was me just being an a-hole, which could very well be the case, or whatever it was. I just kind of floated apart from everybody from high school. Most of my friends are from college, or I met them later in my life and whatnot. I was going to say, my friend circle, definitely Facebook friends. A lot of them have moved out of state. Or far away, and they have like family. They're married and have families. So, and that's a lot. That's hard too. Is when you get into the family aspect of it, it's kind of a whole nother playing field. Trying to coordinate, and it's hard when you live out of state too. I still get Christmas cards and whatnot. Birth announcements from them and stuff. But it's kind of a part of life, I guess. The funny thing is I have a really good friend who I actually went to school with. I met her in 4th grade, and she lived just around the corner from me growing up. But she was the youngest of 3, and her brother and sister went to Glencoe High School, and so she ended up going there, got some special permission just because she was her family was established in that community or whatever. But she's one of the friends that I still like monthly. We used to get together monthly for like some sort of food date before the whole COVID thing, but now it's phone calls and whatnot. But so we didn't go to the same high school, but she's probably the longest friend I've had from school, if you will. That I'm still like super in contact with, other than just social media. Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, as much as we hate social media and all that jazz for the negativity of it, it really does connect us, whereas we wouldn't have connected in the past. Like, think about those people before phones and all that are your friends move, that's it. You really don't see them unless you kept touch with like address through mail or anything like that. So I mean, I think that's pretty cool.
So that's the benefit of social media. Among other things.
Exactly. So when I was in high school, there were several trips where I went off. Like for a class, it was science. It was my environmental class. We went to the Florida Keys and did stuff like that, snorkeling and all that good stuff and things and whatnot. But I also remember with band is where I really traveled a lot. I went overseas to Europe when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
England, France, Germany, Austria, Switzerland. I went all around
Right.
there. I marched on the Champs-Élysées for the 2000 parade with my band. So, I mean, I really got to do a lot with them, which I thought was pretty
That's
sweet.
awesome. Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure that those same. I mean, there's just so many regulations now with
Yeah.
traveling and school activities. I remember, and I know this isn't high school related, but even sixth grade outdoor school, they don't really do anymore, or they do, but it's just a night. And I remember going to outdoor school, and it was like 2 or 3 days, or no, 3 or 4 days.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's sad that those programs aren't available anymore for the youth of today, because it was such a fun time for me. I mean, I had a blast doing all of that, and but it's expensive, and we live in different times now, and
Yeah.
it's
But that's
it
how
is what it is, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like I remember. Gosh, I'm gonna sound so old. I remember back in my day, but I do. I remember traveling and not having TSA and all the strict guidelines and all that jazz in the early '90s and all that jazz. It just things have changed. It's just weird, man.
Yeah, definitely.
But
yeah. But back to high school. Yeah, high school was great, and I enjoyed it, and I was a good student, a good kid.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything ostentatious.
Mhm. Ooh, good word, Ro. Good word.
Oh yeah, SAT word.
Yeah. Oh gosh. SAT. Yeah.
Speaking of high
So
school.
you were like the achiever, the exceller in academia, and I was not. But,
I guess. I mean, I wasn't like it wasn't on honor roll or anything in high school, but I mean, I took some college prep classes, and I had some really good teachers that I still somewhat keep in contact with as I've gotten older. But a lot of them are retiring now, which makes me feel even older. We're doing my 20-year class reunion this summer, which is just weird to me because I feel like I just graduated not that long ago.
yeah.
So old.
Oh, it happens. It's
I
It's
know.
a thing. This is
I
true.
know.
Oh,
Doesn't
my
get any
goodness.
better.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we are looking at almost a half hour in. Is there anything else, any other topics about your high school you'd like to share with everybody, Ro?
I don't think so. I'm gonna say though that Knab and I have challenged each other to showing our senior class pictures. So keep tabs on Facebook to see the awesomeness that is Knab and Ro and in
When
high
you were
school.
little, Ro.
Juniors. When I wasn't so little, but
The medium Ro.
yeah, the medium Ro.
I was a medium Nab. Yeah. And we'll do that. Make sure you guys do pop over, like she said, to Facebook and check it out. It's not just
It'll
going to
be
be
fun.
our senior pictures or anything like that. I mean, I'm going to whip out some funny ones. So we're talking like 8th grade while I was in there, 9th grade with the long hair below my ears. Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
We'll put some good stuff in there. Just saying.
Oh yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great fun.
Yeah, but I feel like this is a topic we could talk for literally hours and hours and hours on,
Of
just
course.
going through all
Yeah.
that jazz. But yeah, if you
Absolutely.
guys would like to hear a little bit more about our high school days and a little bit and have any questions, don't forget to put it down in the comments below, and we'll always answer those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, having said that, I want to thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. If you like the podcast, don't forget to jack that like button right in the nose. And as always, tell your friends and family about the Knab and Ro Show. And this podcast is a wrap.
Till next time, kids.